Hello, everyone, and welcome to Fiji Forever, silent podcast, almost spoiler-free recap of Survivor Fiji. While we wait for Survivor 44 to premiere, I will be spending the off-season recapping one of my favorite seasons of all time, Survivor Fiji. Today, we'll be covering Episode 7, An Evil Thought, which originally aired on March 29th, 2007. I am thrilled to finally announce my next guest, the genius behind the Stanuatu podcast and my co-writer on Inside Survivor, the one and only Christine Pallon.
I'm finally here.
Yes, the gays have won. It's a miracle. Not on this season, but in general.
In general.
Yes. Oh my God. I am so glad that we finally have you on here. I know that it was, I started around the holidays, so we weren't able to have you on like immediately, but this is a good episode to have you on, Christine, because I feel like at the end of the day, what we probably could have predicted what happened here with Rocky's ousting by just the makeup of Ravu, like without even watching the episode, but there's still a lot of good tidbits in here that as I was watching it, be like, I gotta remember this for later.
Yeah, this is for me was a surprisingly very funny episode. I picked it. The only reason I picked it was because of the Michelle Yee thing. That was what I always remembered from this episode. Because the middle, I do like Fiji a lot. The middle of Fiji,
Yeah.
like right before the pre-merge, is a little bit of a blur for me.
Yeah.
In terms of what I remember. So it's like, oh, this would be kind of an interesting one to revisit. There's actually like some really funny stuff happening, even though again, like the outcome isn't that shocking. I mean, just the whole the whole way Rocky behaves in this episode is very funny. Lisi's very bizarre as usual, which we've already talked about even before starting. So there is a lot to talk about, and we have an idol find.
Yes. Okay. So I'm glad you brought that up because that was going to be my next point.
I forgot that happened this episode.
Okay. So Yao Man finds the idol, which I knew was going to happen. I knew that he is the first, maybe only, we won't say whether or not, but he is the first idol finder of this season. And I could not remember for the life of me. I thought it was in like the second or not the second episode, but the episode either right before the swap or right when they swap. So these past two episodes, I've been waiting for it, and I forgot that it was this episode that he finds the idol. We finally got there, and because it's Yao Man, this isn't just an ordinary idol find. This is a very camp idol find, not just because the idol is in camp, but because of everything that happens after it. I'm obsessed with this. And we finally can say that Yao Man is the idol finder, the first idol finder of the idol in its current format.
Mm-hmm.
No disrespect to previous seasons, but he's a bit of a legend in the making here. And I believe, I apologize if I am incorrect here, but he is the first person to also make a fake immunity idol in its place. Is that incorrect?
This is the first time it was shown. I believe Austin
Okay.
from Panama made one,
Oh
but they didn't show it.
Okay, because who remembers what Austin did in
I know,
Panama?
unfortunately me, I have that in my brain. But yes, it was never shown though. So this is the first time it's actually canonically in the show.
I'm not gonna lie. The minute you said Austin, my mind, I'm a little bit of in Sandra mode right now. So I immediately thought you meant Austin Taylor. I'm like, wait a minute, they didn't even have an idol in Pearl Islands, but that makes a lot more sense that there was an Austin in Panama. My bad.
Sorry, I had to Google that and check. I didn't make that up. That did happen. Okay, I was panicking. I'm like, I could have just completely made that, but that did happen.
Okay, good. Okay, so we're not crazy. This did happen.
I'm not a liar.
This is the first time that it's shown. That's so interesting that they did that. Mm-hmm. Well, I suppose it's fine. It's fine. I'm a little sad that I didn't know that beforehand, but whatever. This is the one that matters because Yao, no disrespect to Austin, but it's Yao Man. And now we get to finally talk about how Yao Man is an idol finder, and I love this for him.
Yeah, Yao's great. This was we'll get to it, but his reaction to finding the idol is to me an iconic moment.
Yeah, there was a lot that happened on the Moto tribe, even though they weren't the ones that ended up going to tribal council. And it looks like we're going to get a little bit more about their current dynamic in the next episode, episode 8. But I am happy that we did get some content here. I feel like sometimes the edit is a little lopsided, a bit too much for my liking for the tribe that goes to tribal council. But I do like, and maybe this is part of the good thing that comes with Ravu having kind of a predictable boot, because even though we do say goodbye to one of like definitely the most colorful of characters right now, if I'm putting that nicely, but also that we do get to see a little bit more of Moto and start opening up some conversations about everything that happens in this episode and maybe what is the makeup of the tribe, like the social dynamics of the tribe. And I'm very happy that we finally are starting to get some of that content.
Yeah, so let's get into it. I mean, yeah, because I like
Yes.
this episode, like I like totally didn't think there was that much to talk about. Because that's
Yeah,
literally all I remembered
there
was
is. I
Michelle and
know.
me. But there's actually, yeah, like you said, there's a lot going on.
Yes, and we have a hard deadline. We have to end at 8 for those of
The
you
girls
that
are booked.
we are booked and busy and whatnot. For those that are listening right now, if you are watching the live stream, definitely watch the Survivor New York live stream immediately afterwards, but we are staying on schedule. So before we go right into the episode, I do just want to go over the rules really quickly. So Christine, you know what the rules are, but for those that are either listening or aren't sure what the rules are, let me remind you. This is, as I said in the intro, a almost spoiler-free podcast. We are not revealing anything that happens in the future of the season except for one important detail, and that is that there is an all-black alliance that the edit never shows. So we will be highlighting them throughout the season. But much like everything else, we will not be giving away anyone's placements, including those that are in the alliance. We lost Anthony last episode, so we are down to 3 with Earl, Cassandra, and Dreams. It doesn't come up a lot here because we have Dreams is by himself in terms of the members of the All Black Alliance on Ravu, and then Earl and Cassandra they interacted with one another, but it wasn't really a plot point of the story. But it's something to keep in mind as we go through this episode entirety. But the real story here, the two overarching relationships I would argue that are the center of this episode are the relationship between Lisi and Dreams, which is
Sorry, I have to laugh.
it's a very it's not a healthy one. It's not a alliance that is, made of genuine bonds and friendship and all those things. Just kind of pissed off at the fact that Lisi is there and like fair, because I'm sure he still remembers exactly what his treatment on the original Moto tribe was like. And I gotta say, once he, Dreams has his moments this episode. He has his moments in almost every episode that we've seen so far, but seeing Dreams back to his bit of sassy self now that Lisi is back, and he is not having any of what she is selling right now, and I love him for it.
Yeah, like I really can't blame him. Lisi's vibes are so like just bizarre. Like I mean, last episode she was wanting to quit. I saw the previously on. I didn't watch the whole last episode. I watched the previously on when she's like, "Oh, I was kind of hoping that was it. I was hoping I could, get out of here." Like so, like I cannot like her showing up has to just be like. I mean, not just their past relationship, but the fact that she clearly doesn't want to be here. Is very funny.
And the fact that, and this happens immediately after the tribe swap. So she literally had no path of resistance at this point up until they did the swap. And now that her alliance is all over the place, but because of the swap and on different tribes, now she's saying, oh, this would be a great time for me to just kind of head out for the season. Like, that's my time, everybody. As if she hadn't been try as if she hadn't been so rude to Cassandra and Dreams the entire time they were there. And poor Liliana, an icon. Ugh,
Yeah, her vibes are just really bad. And then like she gets there and she's like, "Hey boys, I'm so happy to be
yeah.
here. Like I love being around a bunch of boys." It's just like
Oh my
they
god.
see and they like Dream sees right through it.
It's this is one of my favorite dynamics in the show, not for a great reason, but because I feel like with if the edit focused a little more on it, it would be like a comedy of errors type situation. But I feel like Lacey, and to a smaller extent, Alex and Edgardo as well, they think very highly of themselves and their alliance, but I think they believe in their way of thinking that they believe that they are just miles ahead of the game compared to Dreams, who is the other member of this original Moto group that is on Ravu. And there, in these past two votes, it does seem that Dreams is voting because of where the majority is, not necessarily because he wanted the person to go. He even says in his voting confessionals, they didn't air these ones, but he does mention them, that he apologized to Anthony when he had to vote for Anthony because he said that he was sorry he couldn't save him this time. And in this episode, he votes for Rocky with the majority, but he says that he wants Lacey to go, not him. So my guess is that just because he didn't want it to be a tie, that's why he voted for Lacey. But it feels to me like that core three of Alex, Edgardo, and Lacey feel like strategically they are miles ahead of Dreams and a lot of their other adversaries on the season. But Dreams is clocking them left and right almost every episode that they talk about their plans moving forward. Like they're relying on Dreams to just be a reluctant number at this point, not really considering the fact that eventually they will merge and Dreams will probably have a couple more options than just sticking with Ravo.
Yeah, I feel like definitely I did appreciate that right off the bat in this episode. We clearly get Dream's point of view. We see that like
Yeah.
he actually has a lot more not necessarily agency because he like the numbers like the best he could do here was force a tie if he wanted to get his way. But like, it's not like so much that he's like just following along, which is how I think they probably view
Yeah.
him. Like he has his own ways of wanting these votes to turn out, but just can read the situation that like
Yes.
forcing a tie to get Lacey out, like it's in the pre-merge, it's not worth it. But the edit
but
they
what
give him
if
some
they
credit.
did? But what
Okay,
if
that would
did?
be high camp. The tie between Lacey and Rocky in the pre-merge and going to rocks for Lacey and going to rocks for Rocky. That would have been crazy.
Oh my god. Can you imagine? I can't imagine between. Okay, so if Rocky and Lacey go to rocks, right?
Okay, hypothetical.
Okay, hypothetical. If they go to rocks to keep Lacey and Rocky safe, they are immune at that point. It would be between Mookie, Dreams, Alex, and Edgardo. Can you imagine if we lost either? Can we imagine if Mookie went out on a rock after he has been through hell and back on continually being on the have not tribe for Rocky? We get Dreams, who I think is one of the bigger narrators of the season. So like that's a huge loss. And then Alex and Edgardo, which, well, I think that they are over exaggerating their what's the word? Like their grasp of the game or like their path to the win. I do think that they are like fairly strong players at this point, and to lose either of them in something as ridiculous as a rock draw right now would just be completely asinine, but I kind of want it.
I found a fatal flaw in this hypothetical. Does anyone go to rocks for Lacey? Would anyone even let it get that far? I don't think so.
Okay. I think the bigger question of this would be who would be most likely to say, no, it's fine. We don't need to go to rocks.
Yeah.
I feel like Dreams wants Lacey out enough that it would not be him if they ended up doing that. Like, but maybe, I don't know. I don't know if, I genuinely don't see Alex and Edgardo going to rocks for Lacey, but I guess my bigger question is, does Mookie fold before they do?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Write to us, at us with your thoughts on this hypothetical. Who
Oh my
would they go
God.
to
Yes.
rocks? Who would flip?
Yes. Who would flip in our hypothetical scenario of rocks? I am intrigued by this answer. I think I would love to know. But that would be, I wonder, because this is a tribe of all recruits now, this whole season is recruits with the exception of Papa Smurf. But I wonder when they find out about this rock draw. Like we've talked before about Stanuatu, how Twyla refused to go to rock. She's like, imagine leaping over a stone. And that is what replays in my head every time rock draws are discussed. And I'm very excited that we finally are getting to a point like this. But this is great. This is a great hypothetical, and I would love. It didn't happen, but in my mind, it did, and it was
did.
perfect. Yes,
Yeah.
it did. We manifested it in another universe, and then okay, and that's about it for Ravu at this point. They are still on their tribe. Lisi's very happy that she's with the men now, which this tribe is now. I said last episode that this version of Ravu would be my personal hell. But now
This
that
is one of the
Anthony
most
is
bizarre
gone,
tribes ever.
this is now that Anthony is gone and Lisi has replaced him. I lied. This tribe right now, this iteration of it is my personal hell.
No, the
This
vibes are
sounds
rancid.
awful. It's I bet it smells so bad there. Like they're just so happy to not be around women, all of them. And I'm just, oh my God. But the vibes are rancid there. I can't, I'm a big fan of Dreams. So I wish him all the best on that tribe because I don't know if I could take it much
Couldn't be
longer.
me. Couldn't be me.
Couldn't be me. Absolutely not. All right, but over on Moto, there's something much more exciting happening over there, which is that Earl and Yao have not given up on their plan to find the idol. And a few episodes ago, the Earl came up with the plan, or maybe they came up with a plan together, but Earl led the tribe away from the camp for a little bit to hunt for crabs, I think. And Yao tried digging for the idol with the only tool that they had on the original Ravu tribe, which was this machete, and it proved to be an insufficient shovel. So he was not able to find the idol then. Now they are on Moto, have a very similar setup about ideas for where the idol could be, and they have tools now. So Yao Man is much more likely to find the idol. So they
I didn't think about that. Sorry, I didn't think about the lack of
yeah.
tools. That that makes a lot of sense why this was so much easier.
Yes, I was like, I can't forget the fact that they literally like buried this idol in the ground on like this, like in the middle of their camp, and like this is just great. And they did buried it pretty deep as well. And like thinking about this, which is the first version of the idol in this format, and then thinking about like Survivor 41, where we were complaining about how they literally threw an idol at people's like, but like it's by the fireplace, and or they're hiding it underneath shelters, or like just all these other things. And it's just like, okay, you are actually, they worked for this idol. It's like, how many original Ravu members does it take for them to find one turtle idol? And apparently it's at least two.
Yeah, like I think any situation where like someone could just like walk into an idol, that means it's poorly hidden. Like, at least like it's on put it under a rock. Like,
Yes.
like it shouldn't be you shouldn't be able to like very easily accidentally find an idol, I don't think.
Yeah. And I'm not
So it's
saying
fun to
like,
see this.
yes, I'm not saying like you have to bury it somewhere and just
Yeah.
hope people find it, but I'm thinking about some of like my favorite idol finds, like even Guatemala, where they had like the idol is definitely on the ground, and this one where you literally have, at least for Yao Man's idol, you have to dig for it. We're going to see the preview for the next episode. It looks like Mookie and Alex and Edgardo are going to try to dig for the idol as well. So there's a lot happening here about the idol. And I like the idea that it really feels like they are like hunting for an idol. Like they are working very hard. They have to find the perfect time for it. They have to execute a plan. It feels very Ocean's 11 for getting an idol, and I love that for them.
Yeah, and it's cool to see it play out of like them working together on this
Yeah.
and like the way I think it's Earl who's articulating like this is something that benefits both of us. This is
Mhm.
something that will be used um, you know, just for me or for Yao Man. And of course on Cook Islands we saw a little bit of like the super idol being played
Yeah.
strategically, leverage using that as leverage, but we're seeing that kind of go a little further of like using an idol to like solidify a two-person connection here,
Mhm.
while still keeping it's still a secret from everyone else. At a
Yeah.
certain point in Cook Islands it became public knowledge,
Yeah.
and that was leverage itself by virtue of it being a super idol. But now it's interesting to see already how we're navigating this less powerful idol. Everyone knowing you has it is a disadvantage, but who you tell can and who finds it with you can be an advantage in a lot of different ways.
Yeah, and I think we really see that amplified here. It's a little bit of a simplistic story, but that's just part of the fact that this is an old school season of Survivor. And really, they only have to worry about two idols that they know of, one of which now is in their possession, and they're assuming that the other idol is at the Ravu camp right now. But this is like low level management of like, okay, we know where the idol is, now we have it. Yao Man found it, but because Earl has been working with him to find the idol, this really solidifies their bond, not just on a personal level, but on a strategic level for this cast. Like, it's a really great television, the fact that Yao Man and Earl got swapped onto the same tribe together so that we got to see the continuation of this story. Because it's not just them working hard for this idol. Like, this was a 3-episode arc at this point to get to this idol. And I love it. I'm so happy that they finally found it. And it's in the shape of a turtle. It's so
It's so
cute.
cute. Meow Man's so excited. He's
I
so
know.
excited. Like I don't think I've ever seen anyone so excited about anything.
Every when he started freaking out and finding the turtle, I started freaking out on screen when I was watching. I was like, "Oh my god, he found it! It's finally happened!" And I love this for him.
And then he makes this like noise. It's like it's like sorry if that sounds awful in your ears, but that's exactly what he does. He like hisses
That's
like a
literally
cat.
what it's exactly what he does, and he does like this like little kiss to the turtle. He's so excited for it, and this leads to one of my favorite parts about this episode because, as we have already stated, the Yao Man has decided now that he has this idol, he's confirmed with Earl that he has the idol. He tells us, the audience, that he has an evil thought. I'm like, oh my god, Yao, like, stop it. What is this evil thought? What could it possibly be? And he decides he's going to make a fake idol and bury it where the idol would be, which, as much as I love this, it kind of doesn't make sense because none of the other people have been to Exile Island yet. But that's fine. That's fine. We don't need to discuss the details. But he paints a coconut and puts I on it in case anyone's confused about what this is supposed to be doing here, and he buries it where he found the turtle idol.
Which on this season might be fine because everyone's recruit.
Yeah. Oh, no,
Like
I 100% thinks this would work.
like on any other season this probably wouldn't like have any chance of working. But I like sure I've
Yeah.
seen it, and I watched like one episode of the show before they shipped me out to Fiji. Yeah, that sounds legit. And
Yeah.
also like there's the fact that they're kind of like we're kind of seeing like new people, we're treading new ground here. Like we
Yeah.
this is a new kind of idol. Who knows what it's gonna look like and what the
Yeah.
the rules exactly are.
Very much, it's a fucking stick out a la
Yeah.
Micronesian. Can you imagine Eliza being
Okay,
like,
all
"It's a
right.
fucking coconut"?
Don't disrespect Yao Man. His is much better than the
Yes,
fucking stick.
that is true. Although he failed to put a smiley face on his coconut, I would say that of all the fake idols that have ever been created, I think it's like Bob Crawley's fake idol in Gabon, several layers down, Yao Man's coconut idol, and then like the depths of hell is where Ozzy's stick is.
Yeah.
And it's
Okay,
still
fair.
it still somehow worked. So excellent viewing. Survivor is cinema, I must
Yes.
say. Yes. And that's about it for the. Oh, no, actually, I do want to address something too, because they have this really sweet moment where Yao's man's talking about how, like, he didn't think he'd make a friend here when he was in the game, and he didn't think, like, this big, strong black man was going to be his biggest ally in the game. So, well, I want to address this a little bit because
Hmm.
it's so sweet. I love this moment between them, but I think there are two things that I want to keep in mind just moving forward as we recap the season. Is that part of it is that I do love this duo, and I think this is the episode that really solidifies Earl and Yao-Man as a duo in the game, because we've gotten hints of it before, but that it I feel it feels like a fully recognized thing at this point now that they have the idol, and that the idol is kind of solidifying that strategic alliance that they have with one another. But I also really like, for several reasons, just like the differences between these duos, not just in how, like, they both will acknowledge it at some point, but like they're both different races. They have very different backgrounds. Yeah. Earl is very tall and Yao Man is rather short. And they're different ages, like Yao Man, I think, is in his 50s at this point, and Earl is in his early 30s, I believe. So there's a lot of there's a big mix going on, and I think that's part of the reason why diversity in shows like this is so important, because we get these unlikely friendships and unlikely alliances here that I absolutely adore. But also, I think that this episode really highlights the differences between Yao Man and Earl. Like, we recognize them as a duo, and I think the Survivor community really recognizes them as a duo in the game. But Earl, I would say, is more of the strategic planner of the duo. He gets most of the confessionals related to strategy. He's the one that we're hearing his input about the votes or what his plan is moving forward. Whereas Yao-Man is more of a man of action, I would say, where he's the one doing the flashy moves. He's the one finding the idol. He's the one that is making a fake idol to bury his actual idol. So I just wanted to recognize that, and that, like, this is a pretty one of a kind duo that can only really be achieved on a season like this.
Yeah, and I think something that's interesting, I mean, Yaman says again, I never thought I would have an ally like this. I'm sure a lot of other people in the game aren't clocking them as a duo, probably for similar reasons. Like, like it might not cross their mind that these two very different people are working together, even though they started on the same tribe. So it
Yes.
was nice to see. I did like that Yao Man acknowledged, like, yeah, I didn't think this would happen.
Yeah.
And to go and to say that, yeah, like this wasn't something I thought was possible, and be like, wow, this is actually really great. It's a cute little moment that
Yeah.
to see him recognize like just how different they are, and that in this game, that doesn't mean anything as long as you have trust and respect for each
Yeah.
other.
Yeah, so I just love that, and I'm glad that they have this duo moving forward, and it's very sweet. And just the whole Moto tribe in general is a pretty solid group of people. I'm pretty excited to see even more of them as we move forward in the season. But we got a little bit more of them after this. But let's talk about this life-changing reward that happens, because okay, one thing I did not know is that this challenge is called Hot Lacrosse Buns.
Thank you. I had it open and ready to say it if you
Okay.
didn't say it.
I did not know that that was what it was. I did not know what to call the things that they throw the balls of fire with, so I called them a flamethrower, but I know that's incorrect. Like, that is a completely different tool. But this is amazing. So They have a reward challenge where they are going to use like these lacrosse sticks to throw fireballs at targets, and then if they hit the target and the target goes on fire, then they get a point, and the first team to hit all 3 targets wins the reward, which is you taking a seaplane to a Fijian arcade with beer and hot dogs.
This is a bizarre reward.
This is such a weird reward, and I was gonna ask you, like, okay, where does this rank in the reward setting? Like, yeah.
Sorry, hold on. You forgot hot dogs, beer, and brownies.
And brownies. I apologize. I can't believe I left out the
Jeff
brownies.
wouldn't leave them without dessert. I mean, yeah, this is like, this was in an era they've been doing this now with the sanctuary in the new era of Survivor, where it's like we take you somewhere to have lots of food, but this combines just like a lot of things. Like they fly in a plane. There's often rewards with planes. They have lots of food. That's common. Like we've never been to an arcade before, and it's kind of like it just looks like a place with games, and I don't know if it actually looks like an arcade. I don't know. I have a lot of questions about where this is taking place.
I mean, it looks like a shed. Like it looks like
this is not like. This is kind of screaming like Borneo, like when the one challenge was just going to be a beer and everyone was like, this sucks. And Jeff takes Kelly Wigglesworth to a bar. Like maybe it was just like, here's some hot dogs, brownies, and beer. And they're like, we want more. And he's like, arcade. And then they like shuffled around some production stuff and like set up a golf game. And we're like, it's arcade time. I don't know. It's very funny. I completely forgot about this.
I think they genuinely just wanted the bros to win a challenge. And this
is like, very bro-like.
It's very bro-y. The entire thing, the arcade, I don't know about you, Christine, but I can only be in an arcade for like 30 minutes before I'm bored out of my mind. But the bros were all over it. This is the one and only challenge that Ravu wins. And thus far in the game. And it's the first challenge win of the season. And I love the fact that everyone is celebrating as if they haven't just been living in this situation for like a maximum of 3 days at this point. And now, like, compared to like Mookie and Rocky, who have been malnourished since like day 3, it's just very funny to see like the same level of enthusiasm after everything that Rocky and Mookie have been through. But they finally are going on a reward.
Yeah, and it's just like, hold on, sorry, I was looking at the wiki for this. Did you know this episode was their submission for best editing of the season?
I just read that when I was looking at
that is not the episode I would pick. There's a certain episode pre-tribal scramble that is brilliant editing, and I do not know why they submitted this.
I am very mad that my favorite episode was not submitted for an Emmy because they deserve it. And yes, the edit of that episode is magnificent. I cannot wait to talk about that episode. It's gold.
But that's that's their thing. But yeah, it's funny to imagine this reward if the other team had won it. Like, what would I don't think they would have had as much fun.
I think Boo would have the time of his life.
I would also love to see Michelle on that golf game. I think she would eat.
Yeah. I am sure. I think that like half of the tribe is too malnourished to pick up a bowling ball at this point, because like think about Michelle, Stacy, and Yao Man. Like they're all so tiny. I'm like, I don't think they can handle that much at once. I don't even know, like, would that food kill them at that point? Like hot dogs, hamburgers, and brownies.
You know, it is what it is.
And
that was my bad Rocky impression.
And beer. Let's not forget. They got to wash it all down with some ice cold beer. Yeah. So
and they don't regret it at all.
And they don't regret it at all whatsoever. They do send Earl to Exile Island just to, keep things the same around here. And Earl has decided that, he doesn't really need Exile Island at this point because he knows that the idol has been found and he knows exactly where it is on both camps. So he just spends his time redecorating, calling Exile Island Earl Island. He's accepting reservations for tourism at this point, which is very generous of him. What a king. Earl has gone on to be a bit of a businessman himself, so I'm sure that this is, we are witnessing greatness in the making here.
Yeah, Earl Island could walk so the Sugar Shack could run.
Yes. Oh my God. I want Earl and Sugar to host a Survivor B&B, like bread and breakfast.
Oh my God.
How cute would that be? But yes, they know how to make Exile Island an exile home. And we love that for them.
And before we go to Moto next, I think we should talk just a bit about the overeating thing because this is like pretty.
Oh my God.
This is framed as like kind of being a critical reason why Rocky goes here,
Okay.
and it's very funny that he like to watch him go basically because he like was like, you fucking idiots, like you like just no social awareness.
My favorite thing that happens on rewards are in order when someone is pissed off that they weren't picked on a reward.
Classic.
When someone gets incredibly drunk at an overnight reward. And then
Chad and Vanuatu.
Yes, exactly. When people fight for idols, specifically Danielle and
Amanda
and Heroes vs. Villains. And then finally, when people overeat on their reward. Like, it's not as funny as the over drinking, but it's pretty funny still, especially in this situation because Rocky does not care about anyone's feelings at this point. And I have to say, I was on Rocky's ass last episode when he was bullying Anthony, but when he's bullying Lacey, Alex, and Edgardo, I'm fine with it. It's funny now. Yes.
No, he sucks, but this is really funny that he's just like, he can't shut up. Like, if he just didn't say anything, like, and kept in his confessional, like, he might have been okay here, but like, and of course he might have still gone, but like, it did not do him any favors. It just shows how clearly no social awareness he had of like the fact that like, he's not in an amazing position here. Like they could vote him out and they do. And he has no awareness because if he had awareness of that, he probably would have shut his mouth or maybe not. Maybe he can't even help it. But I just love when someone just can't shut up.
I do also love that. I love when people tank their game at rewards. It's just really something special. I think that beats the fighting over idols. You can just see like their entire game crash and burn at that moment and be like, by the way, this person isn't winning. Just remember that. Yes.
And he just totally tanks it.
But I love this part of it because like I said, when Rocky is mean to other people that are whining about eating too much, then it's fine. He just like, don't be mean to Anthony. That was my one rule.
Yeah, don't be mean to Anthony. Now anything goes.
Yeah, I don't even know does Rocky just not have social awareness or does he just not care? Because I'm starting to think he just does not care.
I think it's a little more does not care. I think he just thinks, I think it's in terms of social awareness, I just think if he lacks social awareness here, he's lacking the fact that like people, like he's underestimating the people around him in terms of like, like in his mind, he doesn't think it makes sense for them to vote him out. But they easily could. And so it's not necessarily I know he knows he's being a dick, but like it's more like I can do this and get away with it. And that's the miscalculation he makes, I think.
Yeah, that's actually a good point because when he was on the original Ravu tribe, it did seem like him and Mookie were a bit of a duo. If by any reason, like if for any other reason, then they both value like physical tribe strength, which translated into them wanting all the women out on their tribe. But I think that kind of went over to the new Ravu tribe where they voted out Anthony because they didn't feel like he was going to contribute to tribe strength and that was the one that they wanted to go. So now they're continuing this mentality and Rocky isn't really thinking about the idea of like, okay, who is actually going to go far in the game with me? Like who is actually going to be a solid ally? He knows he's good with Mookie. By some Like, honestly, it's incredibly impressive here, but Dreams wants to keep him. That is how bad Lacey has been to Dreams over that. They hyped up this rivalry between Rocky and Dreams in some of the previews and in like the challenges where they face off against each other. And now they've been living together for about 6 days now. And Dreams is like, yep, still better than Lacey.
So while we're on the subject of Lacey, I
Yes.
would just like to comment. I said something before we started this
I would love
wonderful
to
program,
expand on this. Yes.
and I think Lacey is one of the most bizarre people to ever set foot on Survivor. She does follow me on Twitter for some reason, and does respond to me on Twitter for some reason sometimes. So
Lacey follows you on Twitter?
yes, she's like,
I didn't know she had a Twitter.
oh, she does. It's very weird. Oh, okay. When the singer Marianne Faithfull got COVID a couple years ago, she deleted this, but this is like the craziest thing I've ever seen. Lacey like retweeted the news story about her getting COVID and was like, so sad. I fell down a K-hole with her like 10 years ago or something.
What?
And then deleted it. And it was like, what the fuck? This woman has COVID and you're tweeting about the time you did K together. Anyway, Lacey's Twitter is very bizarre. If you are not familiar with her music career, please look up Lacey Linares Tidy Whities.
Oh my god. We're dropping
You will
that.
regret it.
Yes.
You will regret it. She's into VR and AI and stuff. Lacey's very strange. Anyway, she's very bizarre. And also someone one time on Twitter added Jeff being like, will Lacey return? And Jeff responded saying never or something. He's like, or no chance. Like, he could have just ignored it. It was obviously a joke. And he dislikes her that much and he had to respond. Anyway. And I was like, she's one of the weirdest people I've ever been on Survivor. And you were like, Zoe Xanadakis has nothing on her. And then I said, she's evil Zoe Xanadakis. And I think that's perfect.
She absolutely is. She's evil Zoe Xanadakis, that same level of like oddity around her. Not a ton
you just can't place it.
Yeah, you can't, not a ton of strategic awareness, but like Zoe comes off as like oddly charming. If I can't even think of like a better way to describe it. It's just like odd, but kind of in an endearing way. But then Lacey, I just like, she's not even nice. That's no. The thing I don't, it's like she's not even nice to the people that I want to root for. So
she's odd in an evil way, an evil, unsettling way.
Yes, it's chaotic evil, I guess, or neutral chaotic evil. I guess.
Chaotic. Oh, absolutely chaotic.
Chaotic. It wouldn't be chaotic neutral because So I guess I need to do moral alignments for the Survivor Fiji cast after this. This is going to be on my to-do list. I'm going to write that down so that I don't forget because
fantastic.
This is the new thing that is super important to me. But anyway, oh yeah, and then. There was something else I wanted to discuss about this before. Oh yeah, she also is just very like, she at this point, one of the only personality traits we know from her is that she's one of the guys. She doesn't like to be around women. She like is so happy to be on a tribe with just men. And
red flag.
Red flag, exactly. And the fact that all the men are just excited to be around other men because then they don't have to deal with women and their conversations. It's just like also a red flag. But yeah, so very interesting from this tribe. There's just a lot of like toxic masculinity going on from all ends, and that's just the story we're getting with New Rabu at this point.
Mm-hmm.
But now over on Moto, they don't get a ton of stuff because they lost the reward challenge. So it's really just them like talking about their options and everything. This is where we get Yao-Man making the fake idol. But also we do mention that Boo does think that Yao-Man would be the first to go if Moto is to lose a immunity challenge, which is interesting to me. I think part of this is, again, just the fact that it's a recruit. I think it's similar to Rocky in that Boo is thinking of things in terms of tribe strength, and we're not really seeing like him think about it in terms of like an alliance, and he's thinking about like, and he had a set alliance over on Moto, on the original Moto tribe as well. So I think he's not thinking as far as he needs to, but I really think that if they were to lose an immunity challenge, and this is my guess, if Moto were to lose this episode, I think it's either Boo or Stacy that's going.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, when Boo said that, I was like, that doesn't feel correct. Like, that
No.
just in terms of where the power is lying on this tribe, that just didn't feel correct.
Yeah. I think part of this is a sign that Boo is not in the center fold of the goings on of the new Moto camp. And then I think the other part of it is that he is so focused on like the tribal strength aspect of it that he's saying, like, of course, Yao Man would go if they were to go to a tribal council because he's the physically weakest. He's the oldest member. Like, Yao Man has already said that like he could be in danger just for those reasons. But first of all, why would Earl and Michelle give up their majority, or their like give up the fact that they have 3 Rabu members on here for like no reason? And then why would Cassandra stay with the original Moto people? So there's just a lot of reasons why this assumption does not make sense to me. I think we're honestly even close enough to the merge that they might have voted out Stacy here if they lost tribal councils just to keep challenge strength with Boo. But I would not be surprised if they try to blindside Boo before they get to the merge either, because it's just so close to when they merge. Yeah, so it's be interesting.
Sorry, I don't have many intelligent things to say about Boo. For right now, like this episode, he was just kind of there for me.
Yeah, I don't think Boo had a lot of intelligent things to say about Boo this episode. Like, I'm sorry, Boo, like you've been very funny, but also I do not think
I like that his name is Boo.
Yes,
I'm a big fan of that.
Another nickname of this season. And
I forgot how many there were.
There are a lot. There are quite a lot here.
And also, his name is Kenward.
Yes, I learned that like very recently because I just know him as Boo. I know. I want to know how he got the name Boo, because it's certainly not from Kenward.
Yeah.
But either way, we get to
Did he recruit Russell?
Yes, he did. I want to ignore
and
that
James,
fact.
Right?
Not James Clement, I don't think. Or
someone recruited James.
Oh, maybe it was James actually.
Because they're all from Louisiana.
Oh, maybe it was. Okay, he's also been the reason some very unsavory players have been recruited onto the show. Let me see if I can find it. Maybe it was James.
Yeah, so it's James Clement, Russell Hantz, Shannon Elkins, and Colton Cumby.
That's
he is 1 for 4 on that one.
1 for 4. Let's keep it going. That is like imagine going from Fiji, which is Survivor 14, to James Clement, who is the fan favorite of Survivor China, which is one of the most popular seasons ever, and then bringing out Russell Hantz, who I don't respect, and Shannon and Colton Cumby, which I also have lots of thoughts about both of them. So that is neither here nor there for this conversation, but oh my God, what a downgrade after James. It's upsetting, but okay, Boo. Well, we also have that bad take with Yao Man possibly going this episode. I don't see that happening. I just think he's wrong. But we get to finally talk about the immunity challenge, which is a huge reason of why you're here. That's why we're here. I love the blindfold challenges. I know it's not for everybody, but I'm a bit of a messy bitch. Like, I love a messy challenge, and the blindfold challenges always deliver. And I love this iteration of it.
Let survivors bump into things.
Like, major injuries, not fun. Medevacs, not fun. Minor inconveniences from being
minor boo-boos.
So much
Yes.
fun. More, please.
Oh
Oh
yeah,
my
like
god.
this is my favorite challenge. Like anytime someone's blindfolded, it's just funny because people. It's always funny when people are blindfolded, and it's always
Mhm.
funny when people are yelling. It's like
Yeah.
so chaotic. I always call this the Jerry Manthe Memorial Challenge because in my mind she originated it. I mean, I think that was the first instance of it. I don't think they did this in Borneo. Um, and it is just up. I mean, in Vanuatu, it was such a
Yes.
pleasure to revisit that because Scout is an incredible caller. And it's like Scout and Sarge are the callers, very funny. And Michelle is an incredible caller, and actually a very
I
good caller.
loved her. She's so tiny, but she has such a loud voice and she is so good with her instructions. She is
I
so focused.
know.
She has put her body on the line to get it done, and she does. It is
How does she
so
have
good.
that energy like when they're like on that little food and she's just like bouncing up and down?
She's living large now over at Moto. Like, can you see how excited all of Earl, Yowman, and Michelle were to not be on Rabu anymore? They got like a second life in this game.
No, it's so funny. God, yeah, this is so it's very funny that they start with Lisi as the caller on Ravu. It's like who the fuck thought that was a good idea?
I honestly, I feel like they were just going to put Lisi in a spot where like she isn't doing a lot, but then I don't think it act like I think that you want one of your best, like most capable players to be the caller for this and have maybe not your greatest challenge performers be the ones that are blindfolded, because the caller is the mitochondria of this cell, this little operation there. That is the powerhouse of this challenge. So you want your best and brightest in this spot.
Definitely, yeah. And Michelle aced it. I mean, Alex was pretty good. Like he like once he got on there, you know, it was clear Lisi was not going to deliver at all here. And
Yeah.
so once Alex and Lisi swapped, they really got into a groove. I did take note of how crazily Dreams swings the thing around. Like he like just goes like that, like really crazy. That was really funny. I mean,
That's me
everyone
at
was
birthday
bumping into the
parties.
yeah, it was very
Yes.
it's this challenge is giving pinata.
Yes. It's giving children's birthday party vibes, but they're all adults and there's very little rules here.
Yeah, and I did love when like Boo was like swinging so hard and Michelle was like, "You don't have to swing that hard."
I love so one thing that I did notice, I usually don't pay attention to challenges that deeply
Mhm.
because they're boring now with the
Yeah.
obstacle courses, but then like the thing that Boo did here, I love all the challenges in Fiji. They are big stars here. Big things are happening in these challenges. I wish we brought back more bigger mixes of challenges, but Boo did I guess Boo was the first one that I saw doing this. I don't know if it was his plan, but he was like going by the rail and he would like
Yeah.
hit his stick so that people knew that he was coming. He would like hit the stick that they used to crack open the coconuts so that people knew he was coming, and it was like very interesting, and it's like a way to know that you're towards the end of the rail. But
Mhm.
and the whole tribe starts doing that, and I think that definitely helped Moto get a leg up there.
Mhm. Yeah, I was gonna say like I enjoyed that little maneuver. It was just it looked funny, but then also it's like also like smart. Like you don't bump into anyone, you use a clean handoff. And then yeah, so it's like when Yao Man goes, like this is the Michelle bouncing up and down and saying, like, yes, Yao Man, yes, yes, left, left, left. And then she just like keeps getting closer and closer and then just fall. It's the shot is so good. She falls out of frame and then we pull back and see her on the ground and she's laughing. I love how much she's laughing.
I would freak out if I were her. Like that
That was kind
looked
of a big
terrifying.
fall. Like
That was
she
a
could have
big
really
fall.
sprained her ankle or something. Like
She just
easily
gets
had a
right
really
back
bad
up
sprained
there.
ankle, but gets right back up and keeps going. It's so great. It's so fun. She's so like her smile and her laugh is so infectious. I
She is
really like Michelle.
such a great character. I adore her. She has my vote for best cast photo of all time. I
Yes.
am such a big fan of her, and I just love this little legend. She's amazing.
Yeah,
And
really unfortunate she's never returned. She's always been on a short
she
list for people I
would
want to see return.
she would be, I feel like if you ask Survivor super fans who you want to return, I feel like Michelle Yee is on that list of people.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I really hope that if they do have a returning season soon, that they do go like much further back than like the 40 seasons in the 40s, where we can actually see some of these old school players that haven't gotten their second chance to play the game yet, because there's some players on this season I would love to see play again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So
But
this is,
I
oh
don't
wait,
really
what was
get
that?
why they switched Boo and Michelle. I get his like logic was that like my voice is louder, but she was like doing fine.
I
It
don't
seemed like more
know.
of a risk of like losing time because she had to get down, he had to get up there, he had to kind of like, and then he couldn't see right away. He's like, I can't
Yeah.
see. It's like, why are you here?
I know, that was the other thing. It was just like, why you were so ready to do this and then you're not prepared to actually be the caller. And then also something I was thinking is that Yowman has to adjust because he's already out there, so he has to adjust to a different voice giving
Yeah.
him directions, and he can't see that they are
And there's
actually
already a
switching.
man. Yeah, there's already a man
Yeah.
calling, like already a lower voice calling. Now you just have two lower voices.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, Boo
I'm
might be louder, but at least you can tell Michelle's voice like more easily.
Yeah, and I feel like Michelle jumped off fairly quickly when Boo suggested it though, so I'm wondering if it was either an editing thing or if she was like
Mm.
getting out of breath soon and Boo like Boo volunteered to do it. I'm sure there's like a different reason for it, but yeah, it did feel very sudden and it didn't seem really needed at that point.
I'm reading Michelle Yu's bio. She has such a cute bio. I won't read the whole thing because we have like a vote to talk about. But she's like, she enjoys 80s pop music, drinking Eddie James, pirates, things that are green, and video games prefaced with the name Mario. She likes to eat everything from Korean barbecue to Cincinnati Skyline chitty, with a particular weakness for ice cream and sushi. To complement her love for food, Yi practices yoga, lift weights, and trains for climbing. She's not a big fan of cardio workouts, but she does it anyway because she believes it builds character and prevents heart disease. She's so like her like bio's so
I
cute.
I adore her so much. I also love food. I don't do the workouts that she's talking about. Like, that's a foreign language to me, but
Mm-hmm.
I do support a lover of food.
So cute. Bring Michelle Yu back. But yeah,
Bring her
great
back.
challenge. And she does, I mean, Boo comes in at the end, but I think she played a big role in getting her tribe
I
enough
think,
time to figure out the puzzle.
oh, yeah, no, she is definitely the reason that they won this challenge. Hands
Yeah.
down, she really killed it here. And I'm very excited for it, and I'm glad that this tribe stays together so we don't have to actually see what happens if Moto had lost this challenge, because they do end up winning immunity here. I love the phrase that they picked for this puzzle where it was the Cannibal
Yeah.
Isles. Don't get good puzzles like that anymore. Like, you have to actually really think about it, and it's specific to the island they are on in Fiji.
Yeah, no, it's like now it's always like reward is good for game.
Yes.
Like immunity is what you want.
Yes. You're immune until final four. Like
Yeah,
something
it's just
like,
like
it's very, yeah, it's
bring us
very,
back to this era.
I know this is so good. And it's part of it is because this is the first time we got Fiji. So they're really trying to stretch the cannibal theme of this season. But this part
Mhm.
here, so good. I love it. And it's a bit of a thinker, because I don't think Isle would be the thing that I think of first when I'm
Yeah,
trying to put all of these things together.
for sure.
Yeah. So Mono wins, and Ravu is once again going to tribal council. Couple things happen here. So Alex and Edgardo are both in agreement that they want to keep Lisi over Rocky, despite Rocky and Mookie being under the impression that Lisi would be the one to go first. But their reasoning, I have to say, it's pretty solid logic from these two, where they're basically saying, like, they don't have to focus on tribal strength as much now because the merge is in sight. They know it's going to happen soon. So, like, if they lose another challenge, fine, or another two challenges, fine, but they still have enough where they can forge on ahead together. And, having someone like Lacey is good because she's not just an ally to them because they were allies on the original tribe. They're allies because she can't go anywhere else to be allies. Like, they are literally all she has right now.
And then also, like, just the fact that she wasn't even wanting to be here, like, is
Yeah.
like, she's not gonna go out of her way to like scheme behind your backs if she's like,
Mm-hmm.
if push comes to shove, she might just be like, all right, guess it's me. Like, if you're in a situation where one of the people in your alliance is being targeted, like, whereas Rocky is definitely a bit more of a, like, I don't think he's very strategically aware necessarily, but he's gonna fight tooth and nail to stay in a way that I think Lacey might not.
Yeah, and also I don't know what Rocky would have done if he made the merge, because I feel like he is just as likely to stay with the guys on his new tribe and also flip over to Ravu. It doesn't seem like he had any particularly strong attachments on either side other than his alliance with Mookie. And like I don't know what he would do. So I guess in terms of like what we know of Rocky thus far, then I really don't see him as a valuable ally for them, because he does have that possibility of going over to Ravu, especially since we know, like, they don't know this, but we know that Dreams has been planning to go over to the new Ravu as well.
Mm-hmm.
But then another thing that happens here that I really want to talk about is that Lacey tells Alex about the idol and that she wants to find it with him and Edgardo, but that, like, she says that the idol clues are very vague, but that it implies that they're at this camp. Lacey, we have seen the clues. We have been reporting them every episode. They are not vague. They are not vague at all. There is not one iota of vagueness at this point in the clues that you have received, Lacey. It pretty much says it is at camp, find a cave, highest point of the cave, dig underneath it. That is it. That is all you need to know.
I don't know, Gia. That sounds pretty complicated.
It's very vague, very vague. Like, to be fair, they did not paint a giant X where they're supposed to be digging, so they have to find that highest point, and that sounds difficult.
Yeah, it's very funny that she's just like telling them, like, like, she's not particularly close with anyone, but she's just like, sure, I'll give this a
Yeah.
go.
Yeah. And so she tells them this big secret that everyone so far, except for Earl and Yowman, believe that the idol is at Exile Island. They're not even suspecting the idea that the idol could be at camp at this point. And she's giving away one of the biggest secrets of the game. Like, Lacey, you really could have used this to your advantage. That
Did she
you're the
even
only
try to look?
No, as far as I know, she did not decide to look. I mean, Christine, not with those vague clues. Come on now.
No, like,
She
why?
would never.
I don't even know where to start with that.
Isn't
No,
it
like,
this camp that you are telling me, the camp that I sleep at, that is where the idol is, and I have to dig right in this spot? No, absolutely not.
yeah, like, I could see it if she really had been looking for days and like was making no headway. I could see telling one person, but it just telling two people like immediately without even trying to look is feels like an L.
Yeah. And it's just not. It doesn't make sense in this capacity, and I don't think she realized just how valuable of information that she is giving away here, because this is something that the likes of Earl and Yowman and Sylvia, when she was still in the game, have been keeping that secret under lock and key. Oh my God, Sylvia robbed Queen.
The most robbed queen of all, I would argue.
Honestly, like, there is an argument for that, because she is quite a robbed queen, and in this season. I feel so bad, but this season is full of robbed queens, actually. I can't wait till I can finally talk about this in depth, but robbed queens all around. It's not Lacey, though. Lacey is not a robbed queen. Lacey is just giving away information unprompted.
And she's just like, you know what? I didn't even want to be here yesterday. Here,
Yeah.
you get an idol clue, and you get an idol clue. Like,
But then also we see in the previews for the next episode that Alex and Mookie are trying to dig for it and I think Edgardo too, while Lisi and Dreams are sleeping. So
yeah,
this
good work,
is not,
Lucy.
yes. So she's just giving away information for them to use, not with her at some point. And ladies, this is why you should not be looking to just be friends with guys, because they do shit like this. So there, life lessons from Gia.
Life lessons. I like
Yes.
this segment.
Thank you. Thank you. Friends that are not cis men are always great. I do like my guy friends, but like sparingly, They have to go through
A trial phase.
They do have to go through a trial phase. Otherwise, it's just like, can I really trust you? Like, are you really not one of the bros? Like, you gotta have that phase. Would you go digging for an idol, not telling me while I was sleeping after I gave you the idol clues? I don't know. I need to see. We need to like get all the sus out. But it's fine. It's fine. I'm not on this season. So, yeah. And then on the other side of things, that trio has pretty much decided that they're going to vote out Rocky. And they tell Dreams the same thing, that the plan is to vote out Rocky here. Dreams now tells Mookie what the plan is, because Mookie and Rocky are under the impression that the vote is for Lisi. And obviously, Mookie is not thrilled by this. He is worried that if they lose again, which is a strong possibility, that they would be voting, or that they would just vote him out because he is the last Ravu member of the bunch if Rocky goes here. And this is really like cutting out Mookie's power in the game as well.
For sure. So yeah, Mookie he doesn't do anything with this information, does he?
He doesn't tell Rocky because
Rocky would have flipped out.
Yeah, and Rocky doesn't, he says in his goodbye message that like he did not see that coming. So I can imagine that like he didn't tell Rocky about it. I am assuming that he talked to Dreams about the possibility of him flip. Dreams actually offers up saying like he would rather vote to keep Rocky. Like he might just vote with Mookie and Rocky at this point. But Mookie does say that he will probably end up voting for Lisi with Rocky, just because he promised Rocky that he wouldn't vote for him. So I don't know. I don't know if he could have done anything with it, because I think there is still like that divide between the old Ravu and the old Moto, and he is aware that Dreams is not a huge fan of Lisi, but I don't know. I'm assuming what happened here is that Mookie and Dreams had a discussion at some point where Dreams does say that like he can't, like what's going to happen if it's what's going to happen if it's a tie, because I'm assuming that as badly as Mookie doesn't want Rocky to go, and how much Dreams doesn't want Rocky to go, they don't want to be the one to go over Rocky either.
Yeah, at this point, it's just, for someone you're already kind of, who's grinding your gears a bit, you're kind of not feeling great about, it's just not worth rockying the boat to maybe save him.
Yeah, and I honestly, I don't think that Mookie would have put up much of a fight on this either. Like, I think he obviously has his preference, as does Dreams, but I don't think either of them want to kind of out themselves as being not wanting to go with what the alliance thinks at this point, and in keeping Lisi over Rocky. So it was the decision that was made, not necessarily the one I would have done, but what do I know? I want to see Rocky bully the Ravu tribe a little more personally, but
just at least one more episode.
Just one more. You could have given us one more episode of this, but this was thankfully a very short tribal council. I can't even tell you what was happening here. I do know that Mookie did say that like he wants to still, like, he wants to work towards solidifying a bond with Dreams, and now we know that like the reason why is because he's going to lose his ally Rocky here. And not much happens in the tribal council other than the fact that Rocky is voted out 4-2, I believe.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah, he's voted out 4-2. Rocky does vote to keep him with Rocky, and then Dreams ends up going with the majority to vote out Rocky instead of Lacey. But he does say in his voting confessional he wishes that this was Lacey. So I really wish they
Petty.
I really wish they showed some of Dream's voting confessionals a little bit more, because he does not like the past two have been just like, I don't want to do this, but I have to.
Mhm.
Yes. So, and I think that's going to be relevant as we get closer to the merge phase of the season. So I'm very excited to talk about that. But we are at the end of episode 7, An Evil Thought, right now. Is there anything else we want to talk about with the episode before we get to the awards?
I mean, the jury timing's really weird.
Oh yeah, okay. This is the other thing. Thank you, because I forgot this, and it is very important to me that we discuss this. Rocky is our first juror, meaning he is the mayor of Ponderosa. I personally hate when they have jurors start pre-merge, but
Yeah.
they do it here. Anthony just misses the merge.
I
I mean, and just misses
know.
the jury. And I'm just saying, if you're thinking about who you want to be your mayor of Ponderosa, going from the possibility of Anthony being your mayor of Ponderosa to Rocky being your mayor of Ponderosa is a drastic difference.
Yeah, it's not great.
And Rocky's final words actually alludes to that. He is very excited to be the first member of the jury. So literally they make sure to mention that he screams in his final words at the end of the episode. So he says, "Ah!" But he says it much louder. But I'm not going to hurt my listeners' precious ears. I would not do that to you. But then he follows on by saying, "I'm extremely pissed off. I'm angry. They got me good, man. They got me really good. I didn't see anything coming. Then all of a sudden, boom, I get smacked in the mouth with a cinder block." But you know what? Now I get to be on the jury, and hopefully none of those cats get the $1 million thanks
Those
to me.
cats. That's so good.
I love this goodbye message. It's lovely. And no notes, Rocky. Scream and all. It was perfect. I don't like when we have like bitter juries necessarily, but I do love bitter final goodbye messages. Like,
Yes.
that's solid TV. Like, just let it all out. You're out of the game. It's your final words. Let us know what you're really thinking in the moment.
No, and like I love a goodbye message that like it's like I love when someone's really angry, but I also love when someone's uncharacteristically like taking it really well.
Yeah.
And I knew Rocky was not that one. I'm trying to think. I feel like there's an example in Vanuatu of someone who's like who you think's not going to
Wasn't
take it well.
Sarge like taking it pretty well in the
Yeah,
initial? Yeah.
I think it was Sarge who took it pretty well in his final words. It was someone, I can't remember. But anyway,
Yeah.
Rocky does not do that, and so I'm glad he's angry and a little bitter. But
Rocky
yeah,
would
that was
be
the only thing I
pre-merge.
wanted to make sure
Yeah.
we addressed.
Rocky would be pre-merge on Vanuatu. So if anything else, he would.
Absolutely, they would eat him
Oh
alive.
my! I would personally love to see him on a tribe with the likes of Twyla and Amy and Scout and Eliza. Can you just imagine for a second what they'd eat him alive? It would be so funny.
Oh God, I love those women.
Bring them back. Bring them
Bring
back.
them back. Bring them back. Okay.
Okay, that's it. That's my last, maybe not my last, but my last member should return for a new season segment. All right. Now, are you ready for awards?
I'm ready.
Okay. Perfect. So, first one is best confessional. This one we can each have our own vote for this.
Okay. I'm gonna say best confessional for me. I gotta say the Yao Man talking about his relationship with Earl. I want to say all of their confessionals, but Yao Man's confessional when he's like finding the idol and when he's talking about Earl.
Yeah. Honestly, okay, if this were any other episode, Earl calling Exile Island Earl Island would have been my funniest moment, but That is not going to happen here. So I'm going to put that as my favorite confessional.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to put Earl Island in there. All right,
Awesome.
Christine. Funniest moment.
Michelle Yee falling off the platform.
Yes.
I mean, yeah, there's nothing. It is one of the funniest this clip. I watched this clip so much. I watched this and then Lacey falling at that one challenge, like falling
There's
flat on her face.
there's a lot of iconic injuries in this season.
Like, I love to see women thrive, but on Survivor, I also love to see women fall, like literally fall.
Literally fall.
I love when people fall on Survivor and like when they don't hurt themselves. Yeah.
We support women's rights and women's wrongs on this podcast. All right, the big one. Who wins the episode? We have had quite a mix of winners over the past few weeks, and now this is the halfway point actually, because there's 14 episodes to cover. So 14 we will have eventually 14 winners, or doesn't necessarily have to be all like different winners, but we have had quite the mix so far, so it's been really interesting so far.
Okay.
Yeah,
I want to know who's who's gotten it.
Okay, so for the premiere, we actually gave it to the entire Moto tribe because they got the nice camp, but they didn't really do anything to distinguish themselves as like someone here is definitely the winner. Episode 2 was Mookie. Episode 3 was Michelle. Episode 4 was Lacey. Episode 5 was Earl. And this past episode was Cassandra.
I mean, I wish I could do. Like my mind wants to do Yao Man and Earl as a duo.
Okay, so I do have a thought here. But
yeah, what's your thought? I'm not committed to anything.
Okay, so if we're not doing someone on Ravu, because we definitely saw more of Ravu, but I'm not like committed to any of them like necessarily winning the episode.
Yeah,
but I think,
so can I like can I just say why I'm like ruling all them out? Because it's like, I mean, Rocky goes.
Yes.
Dreams doesn't really get his way. We hear from Dreams and like we get like, but he doesn't want Rocky to go. Mookie doesn't get his way. Lacey sucks. Like I can't like none of them win. So it has to be someone on Moto. Anyway, continue.
But I do think that like if we are going to assign a winner from this episode, it has to be either Earl and Yao Man. But Yao Man found the idol and he says that he wants to share it with Earl when the time comes, but he doesn't necessarily have to. Like he could just say that and then the time comes and decide, yeah, okay, change my mind. This could actually be kind of bad for me if I do that. So
yeah, like, it's gotta be Yao.
Idol. Yeah. So I think that if we are, it's definitely not Michelle. I'm sorry, Michelle. You were a legend, but
she is the queen of the episode.
Queen of the episode. But for the winner of the episode, I would also say Yao Man. I think that's probably the most consistent answer, not just because we've had 7 different winners in a row now, but also that I do think that Yao Man does kind of distinguish himself a little more than Earl this episode just by the fact that he has the idol, and we do see some content from Earl on Exile Island, but he already knows everything there is to know there.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Yeah. So I'm happy with that. This is a very strong set of winners for the first half of the season so far. So I'm very excited. Christine, I cannot thank you enough for not only coming on this episode, but also for being the inspiration for Fiji Forever by your podcast of Stanuatu, where you did a recap on Vanuatu throughout the Survivor off season. It inspired me. I said, I want to do that, but with Fiji. You were able to come on for an episode with me. I went on for an episode with you, and they were both fantastic times. So I just can't thank you enough for being the inspiration, but also being super supportive along the way and inspiring me to embrace my favorite season, my favorite underrated season to the fullest degree. Like this is big. This is a big moment.
I'm so glad. I was so like on like when I think you mentioned why I knew this, like when you came on for the first episode of Stanuatu, like I don't remember if it was on pod or off pod, but like you mentioned this very early on, and I was so excited to hear that. And yeah, like everyone has their pet seasons of Survivor where you're like, this is my child.
Yes.
And like I love Fiji a lot, and it's a season I'll defend. But mine is Vanuatu. Everyone has theirs. It's just like I
Yes.
was like, this is kind of something I was really happy to see, because it's like that's why I
Yes.
wanted to do Stanuatu, which is because that's not every there are people who are Vanuatu defenders, but like not everyone is like, that's the hill I'm dying on. And I'm so glad this is the hill you are dying on, and that
Yes.
you are doing it so wonderfully in this podcast. And
Oh, it absolutely is the hill I will die on. And I appreciate all of the support and just like everything that like I believe a certain Twitter account named me and you as the ambassadors of our respective underrated seasons.
Yes, I believe it was like Rob's fact checker or something.
Yes. And I do think that is fairly accurate, because we both ride and die for our favorite seasons. Also, the fact that like Fiji is special for me for a lot of reasons, particularly because it's the first instance of an all Black alliance of this size. But also, like, Vanuatu is very special to me because that's the first episode the first season that I watched fully in the real time. So that's one and the story to me personally is magnificent. So I'm just really glad that we have the opportunity, that we've met, but also that we have the opportunity to work together and just bond over our similar loves of underrated and undervalued seasons, I would argue.
And hopefully we will meet in person soon. I'm hoping to make it to a 44 viewing party somewhere.
God. Yes. Please tell me when, and I will make the time. I don't care what's going on at work. I will quit to make that happen if I must.
Yeah, it'll work out well where I think my like finals end in April, so I could go to something end of April, May. So everyone stay posted. I might go to a viewing party somewhere, and I might go to New York or something. So I'll keep you posted.
This is the most important news that could possibly happen in the Survivor community. So I hope you all are listening and know that like this is huge. Big deal.
And everyone, my message, Stan Carolyn.
Stan Carolyn. That is a note for Survivor 44 for people that are confused. But yes, Stan Carolyn. 100% there. All right, Christine, we are about to wrap up now with where can people follow you, and is there anything that you would like to promote?
Yeah, so you can follow me on Twitter at xteen_files, on Instagram at the xteenfiles. You can read my writing with the lovely Gia on Inside Survivor. I'm assuming we will keep it going, covering 44 when that starts up. And you can also, if you're interested in listening to other podcasts I've done, you can of course find Stanuatu on the Bitter Jurors Network. If you're on a Spotify user, if you just search Stanuatu, there's a playlist with all the episodes. If you're an anime fan, I did. It still exists, but we just haven't done any of the bonus episodes we said we were going to do. Derek and I, for Bitter Jurors, did The Shadow Play Gaze, which is a rewatch podcast, spoiler-free rewatch podcast of the 1997 anime Revolutionary Girl Utena. That show will change your life. And just listen to the Bitter Jurors in general. Sam and Derek do great things over there. I've guested a few times there. Gia's guested a few times there. And yeah, I think that's it. And yeah, it's Stan Carolyn. If you watch season 44 of Survivor, I would like to promote Carolyn. So that's it for me, I think.
Thank you so much. And as always, you can follow me at Classically Gia on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok for all of my reality TV shenanigans. I posted one video on TikTok when I was not fully sober on New Year's Day and have not posted anything since, but I have ideas, so I will post content soon, I promise. Also, because it's a Survivor podcast and we're talking about the first All Black Alliance, I have to promote the Survivor Diversity Campaign Twitter page. Please make sure to follow it at Serve Diversity. That's at SURV Diversity. Abbott Elementary is back and better than ever, and so are Chappelle and I on post-show recaps, doing our bi-weekly recaps of the season 2 of Abbott Elementary. We're on the second half of the season finally, and I'm so excited. It's been such a great season so far, and there's more to come. If you have not seen it yet and you love sitcom shows, I highly recommend that you watch this show. It has a lot of heart and a lot of great messages in it. And then listen to Chappelle and I and give us 5 stars and talk about how wonderful, lovely, and funny we are, because that's what really matters in this podcasting world that we live in. And once Survivor 44 picks up, so will our recaps of 44 on Inside Survivor that Christine and I do. Lots of fun all around, even though sometimes we, I wouldn't say we procrastinate, but we don't always get it done in the time that we say we're going to.
We always get it done like before like Martin would get annoyed, but like
Yes.
sometimes G and I'll be like gonna start the recap tomorrow, and then it's tomorrow, and I'm like, didn't start it.
I
And
lied.
Then, like,
It'll be done.
I lied.
Yes. I lied. It'll be done before Tuesday. Promise.
Yeah, and
yes.
It always is, but
Yes.
usually not when we say it is. But then every once in a while we'll have a week where it's like right on time.
Yeah, yes. Oh, that's our Slay era, so I can't wait for that. That golden week will come, and we will feel glorious during that time. And also with Survivor 44, I don't know about that. We'll also be back, and we'll be done with Fiji forever by then. I'm very excited for the rest of the season. We are halfway done now with the Survivor Fiji recap. And so, Christine, this is a perfect time for you to be on, and I can't thank you enough. Thank you
for having me.
Yes, thank you for just being your inspirational self. You are wonderful, and I'm so happy that we got to do this again. Thank you to everyone that listened to Fiji Forever. Stay tuned, because very soon I will have episode 8 out as well, and things get a little dramatic, a little antsy, but also a little dancey, and I'm very excited for this next reward challenge. So stay tuned, because we will have a lot of great coverage for you soon. Thank you all again.